Welcome to On Point Live. I'm Michael Horn, along with the stars of our show, Vince Ferragamo and Jackie Slater, former Los Angeles Rams, who every week come to you on this program, breathe in, breathe out, and bring you football like it's never been talked about before. Corey Marino's our producer. We got a lot to talk about on the show this week. But first, Vince,
Yes.
Jackie, how's your week been going?
Yeah, going pretty good, Michael. You know, we saw some great stuff this weekend. PGA. Okay.
Oh,
we saw
you've been
Gary
doing PGA
Woodland.
lately.
How about that,
my
huh?
gosh.
How about
he
that?
had Jackie.
Did
he
you
had
see the
major
chip-shot?
brain surgery 4 years ago, and he comes back and wins this tournament. I was telling
It was
Corey
unbelievable,
about this.
his short game, man.
Jackie, but
His
short
short-
game. But how about
But
his long?
he had a
one
long game,
shot.
too. He had one shot, about 375 yards
Yeah,
or so.
exactly.
But you know what they say? You drive for show and you putt for dough. And he was
He was
definitely
putting because he was 4
Oh,
under.
he was unbelievable.
He won the
Is that what
tournament by
Tiger
4
Woods
strokes.
says?
It did. He really,
Tiger
Oh, I
Woods
don't
says
know.
you drive for show and then
And you putt for dough.
Please
Putt
get
for
a
dough.
driver to drive you around.
he better.
Yes.
He better. What
That's all you
about
need to
that,
do.
Tiger Woods? Yeah, that's a problem here,
And
guys.
it's a recurring problem, Michael, and you
Yes.
think you have the solution for that. You can't sit there and drive and drink. It's just not possible.
It's just,
cannot.
obviously he's having some issues, and
Yes.
we're just hoping that you get him straightened out really fast because he represents so
talent.
very much, so very.
Yeah, what a
much.
talent and everything. And Vince, you got a winery, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
You ought better than anybody knows the fact that you can't drink and drive.
No, you cannot, Mike. And we had a party for my daughter who was just turned. Her birthday was this weekend, and all her friends came over to the house, and we went in the cellar and we pulled out a 2014 Jackie. It was a gold medal, and that was the year Javi Chinza
What about
was
some
born.
wine? Did you get some wine?
No,
while you
that
were-
was it. The whole baseball
Oh.
team, all the parents were in the cellar
love
that
it.
night, and they
I
all
love
wanted
it.
to drink the 2014 because that's the year their kids were born.
Yeah.
Love it.
And they
Gotta love it.
absolutely love it. So I says, moving forward, they just got to yell 2014, win the championship, I'll open up another bottle. That's it.
I'm there for that celebration. Yes, that's On Point Live with Vince Ferragamo and Jackie Slater, brought to you by our good friends at HarmonyCheese.com. I talked to Bree today. She puts together charcuterie boards and a whole lot more, mails
she
it out
ever.
to you. All you got to do is go to HarmonyCheese.com, order up your favorite cheeses, mention CRN Talk if it's your first order, 10% off your order. Tell your local grocer you want Harmony Cheese in your neighborhood, and we'll get it done for you. Don't
One of
forget
the
to
sim-
email
Her
us
cheese
on
tastes
point
One of the simple
at
pleasures of life right there, Vince.
crntalk.com. On point at crntalk.com. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, Vince Ferragamo, Jackie Slater, looking at quarterbacks, looking at offseason, looking at a whole lot more. It's On Point Live. Welcome back to On Point Live. I'm Michael Horn, along with our producer, Corey Marino. But the stars of our show, number 15, Vince Ferragamo, number 78, Jackie Slater. And we've got, gentlemen, a lot to talk about this week. Remember the show name, Stay On Point. We got the off-season here, but we got some problems going on here. Let's take a look at the Rams first. The Rams were considering trading Davante Adams. Vince Ferragamo, what's this all about?
You know, I don't understand that. I don't understand the theory. This guy goes, Jackie, and scores 23, leads the NFL in touchdown receptions this past season. And all of a sudden you hear there's rumors that they put him on the trading block. They were going to try to trade him to another team. I just don't understand the purpose for that. And as I'm a player, I'm thinking, why do they want to trade me?
Vince,
Jackie knows.
Vince,
Jackie,
you
you
got
know,
to-
don't you?
Why?
You have got to be kidding me. There's
Come on,
no
say it,
way
Jackie.
you're going to
Say
sit
it.
there and
Say it.
make me believe that you don't know the reason why this whole conversation is coming up.
Well, he's got to have his doubts, Jackie, because why would they want to trade
Vince,
him? And
Vince,
he's too that good.
Vince.
Why would they trade a good player?
First of all, I don't believe that Sean McVay wants to trade Davante Adams. I believe that Davante Adams, who makes $12 million a year, he signed a 2-year, $12 million a year contract with the Rams. He was the most productive wide receiver in all of pro football. I don't care who they were. He caught more touchdowns than anybody in the National Football League, and he's making a third, a fourth of the money that Smith and Jigma is getting up in Seattle. You got to be kidding me. The man absolutely went in there and knocked the door down, insisting on getting a raise, and that's how this whole conversation started. I'd be willing to bet you $1 to a penny that that's what happened. He wants to be paid more money. He wants to get back to where he was when he signed that $141 million contract a few years ago, which puts him up there in the $25 to $35 million a year range, which is what anybody would be expecting if they scored more touchdowns than any wide receiver in pro football.
So you're telling me that he asked for an increase in pay.
That's
so
right.
He went back just like they did Aaron Donald and then they did Matt Stafford.
Wait,
he thought
yeah, exactly.
They already established that. That's a good point.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Exactly.
They established that.
All he had to do was look back 3-4 years, and he saw Aaron Donald wanted a raise because of the fantastic season he had. They gave it to him.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford wanted more money because he didn't feel like he was comfortably played. They gave it to him. Then he promptly went on and led him to almost to another Super Bowl. Here this guy has caught more touchdowns than anybody catching touchdowns in the National Football League, led the league in touchdown receptions, and he's sitting there at the bottom tier of the payment for the wide receivers. You better bet your bottom dollar that he initiated this conversation, and I think perhaps the Rams don't want to pay him that.
But from the 5-yard line, Jackie, I mean, he's going to –
I don't
Sean
care what
McVay's
yard
going to
line.
tell him, say, hey, Devontae, I called those plays.
Yeah, he called the
And
plays.
So but
he had to
in
catch
a position to make those plays.
He didn't catch one ball. Devontae Adams called all the balls. He called the plays and he made the plays.
We got a lot of problems going around here that I can see, and let's kind of analyze them. Starting Vince Ferragamo, you and Jackie, great veterans of the game. There's something called ego that it's always been there. Yes, everybody has an ego, but in this day and age in football, how important is ego so that you're the highest paid quarterback or the highest paid running back of everybody over there, and you negotiated your contract for 4 years instead of doing it 1 year at a time? I got nobody to blame but the player themselves, Vince Ferragamo.
We always had to play our contracts out, Michael. We never
That's
went
true.
and renegotiated. If we had signed a 4-year contract, we did 4 years. But, in today's game, it's more about the money. And everyone's making such big dollars that, it's almost like comparative, like they're comparing themselves to another receiver in the league.
Exactly.
We never knew everyone else's salary back in the day.
It's about production, Vince.
Yeah,
It's about
and so
production.
Just just be proud that you're playing the game, that you're doing a great job of service and entertaining people. That's your job.
That's a lot to be said about what you just said. But the reality of it all is this is a like you say, it's a money-driven business.
Yes.
The owners are making the money that they need to make and looking to expand all over. And players are jumping from team to team. This was created when free agency opened up. When free agency happened, now everybody want to get the best deal that's out there. Devontae Adams realizes what he got accomplished last year was second to no one in the National Football League, including those high-paid guys there in Minnesota, including Smith and Jigba up there in Seattle. None of those guys produced like he did. And that's the reason why this whole conversation is coming up. He's scheduled to make $12 million a year. He knew he had the year that he did this past year, and he couldn't just sit there and watch all these other guys make that much more money than him without at least going in and trying to get a raise.
But there's a lot of differences here right now when you guys play. Jackie, you could have been injured every single day when you played a football game. Vince, you as well. And it's like you had to say, do I want to go for the 2-year contract, the 4-year contract, the 1-year deal? Heck, Vince, you went and played for a year in Canada, for gosh sakes, because you thought you were worth more, but you didn't sign the 10-year deal, going in there. At least I don't think you did. I mean, you got to kind of be in your own destiny here, and you set your own parameters. You can't ask for a 5-year contract, and then when you don't think it's enough, go back and go, it's not enough. I'm better than, everybody else.
Mike, I hear what you're saying. But you got to understand, Devontae Adams a few years ago signed a lengthy contract for something like what?
$28 million a year.
Yeah, but
signed with the Raiders.
$141 million or something
for
like that?
4 years, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, he knows what it's like to be at the top tier of the payment scale, and he knows what it takes to get there. And so he had the type of season that warrants being paid like anybody that's making the very top bucks in the National Football League as a wide receiver. He realizes that. He realizes that he's not being paid paid, and he also realizes that he's on an organization that has a tendency to bend when it comes to its stars wanting to be treated fairly. So that's, in my opinion, that's the only reason why this conversation ever came up about him being him leaving, is because he initiated trying to get more money.
Well,
let's
Michael,
look at the other
thing,
side here, Vince, is the team. They got to look at their money and how much they're spending. So if they think that they're going to get really nailed too much and they're being asked for too much, maybe they want to dump it to go ahead and get something else.
Well, it's an investment, Mike. They always make an investment with players, and you hope it pays off. But, I just heard some disturbing news for one of the highlight players on this Rams team, Puka Nacua.
Who is going to have to be paid?
He's going to have to be paid. He's up for renegotiation, Jackie. But you know what? He had an incident that happened this past weekend where there was some verbiage that should have been left out. It's just disturbing news. And, you and I, we came up through the ranks. There was a bunch of diversity on the team. We all got together great. Our fans were diverse. They always supported our team. But you certainly have to keep politics out of sports. It's an entertainment business. And I think that, when Puka looks back, he's going to regret some of the words he said. And you just, there's enough hatred in the world. You have to keep hatred out of sports, okay?
I agree,
you don't
I
need to
agree
talk
with that.
bad about anybody.
I agree with that, and some of the things that reportedly he said were way off out of way.
So how do you handle that, Jackie?
Well,
how do you handle that?
First of all, I think we have to consider the situation and the person that we're talking about. First of all, Puka Nacua is a minority himself. Right. And, so he understands, what it's like to be considered a minority, treated like a minority, and having to function in a world where everyone knows you are a minority. Now, some of the things that he said, some of the actions, if you look at this guy play, and I have found this to be true in a lot of situations that I have encountered over my association with this great game. Many of the people that play with a lot of zeal and a lot of robust enthusiasm, those guys are that way when you get them around their wives and their families and their girlfriends. They're the type of guys that'll pick their 3-year-old up and say, "Daddy loves you," and you want to say, "Don't shake him so hard."
You got to have some self-control, though, Jackie.
Yeah, I know, but he's just bursting with energy, and he made a mistake. He is a young guy. He's got a lot of growing to do. I like what Sean McVay said about him growing up and he trusting the person that he is, because I really do believe the guy's a dynamic individual outside of these negative things that have occurred.
Some apologies are in line.
And he's growing, Vince.
Yeah, he's growing. He's got to learn. I mean, he's got to learn from the
and it's not as if Sean McVay is just 40 years old. He's still got a lot to learn as well. What they're going to have to do is depend on that person that they have. There's a mandatory hire, a player development. Every NFL team has to have a player development guy, and that's his responsibility. He should be all over it. He should have been aware that it was a possibility just because of his exuberant attitude way before time.
Let's just take a break, and we'll be back with more on Point Live. Welcome back to On Point Live. I'm Mike Horn, along with the famed Vince Ferragamo and Jackie Slater, former Los Angeles Rams. We're talking about comments made by Puka Nacua, and got a little. We stayed on point here. As a matter of fact, this show is all about being on point. We open up our On Point email line. What are your thoughts so we can talk to you about them? Email us onpoint@crntalk.com. Onpoint@crntalk.com. Let us know what you think. Should Puka Nacua apologize? Should he be traded? Should he be taken off the team for a while? What should go on? Onpoint@crntalk.com. We're going to get Vince and Jackie back into it, but first a reminder, we're brought to you by our good friends at HarmonyCheese.com, right from the Midwest, from Wisconsin. Winter is still hanging on there. I talked to the experts there at Harmony Cheese. They're keeping all the cows nice and warm so that your cheese is warm, except if it's in Jackie Slater's refrigerator right now.
I'll cool
He's
down.
still got a good selection in there, Jackie Slater?
Absolutely. It's one of the simple pleasures of life, Mike. I gotta just tell you, it really is. It really is.
And And Bree mentioned that she's mailing out some cheese to Vince, but she said she likes to have some of that Vince Ferragamo family wine.
Well,
to
they
go
go
out
well
there.
together, Michael. You can't have one without the other. So
Especially
really
that
gotta
2014 is
enjoy
the
it.
one I'm going to be asking for now.
They really do pair
That's a
well
big
together.
There's not many
People want
bottles
it.
left. 7.
I'm going
That's
to
it.
better taste it soon. HarmonyCheese.com. Don't forget to mention CRN Talk. You get 10% off your first order. Now, you can talk about Puka Nacua all you want. Let's start with you, Jackie. But comments made by Colin Kaepernick didn't really do well for him. His career sort of ended with kneeling in the end zone after, shall we say, a quarter of a season of halfway decent play at quarterback.
Right.
So
and
what's the deal? You
said
got
the
to
things
watch
that-
yourself.
You said the things that he said. It was more the actions that Colin Kaepernick did. He
Yes,
actually took a knee during the national anthem on the sideline of an NFL game. I thought that was inappropriate. I don't think he should have done that. I think he could have expressed himself and his disappointment and his concerns in a different way. But, moving back to Sean McVay and Puka Nacua, McVay said publicly that he backs Puka Nacua, while they're waiting more facts on this situation. And he said, I trust this kid's heart. And I think that falls in line with what I am thinking. This young man is very exuberant, we all have seen the energy that he brings as he competes. We've seen him on the sidelines so excited about a big play that he or one of his teammates made that he's just almost out of control. He's going to have to grow into that. He's going to have to learn, to control himself a little bit. And McVay said this. He said, I trust the kid's heart. Now, McVay, I said a minute ago, he's 40 years old. He's still a young man himself, but he's been a good leader of men. He's been a good judge of character and the guys that he has brought on to the Rams organization, and I believe him. I trust what he says about Puka Nacua, and I also trust what my eyeballs told me and what have told me since I've been watching Puka Nacua since he's been a Ram. The guy's just overly exuberant about everything he does, and I think we had to take all of that with a grain of salt.
Here's a good summary, Mike. Your spirit is strong, but your flesh is weak. Okay, so you really need to control and put everything in perspective and just be overall a good person and just have kind heart for people, do your best. If it's an athlete, yes, it's a contact sport, it's an emotional sport, right, Jackie?
Very
but you know
much
what?
so. Very
You need to
much so.
control it. Be emotional, be tough on the field, and then off the field, be a good person.
Because Vince, sometimes it just comes out, right?
Yeah.
I never will forget a guy named Mark Gastineau started a fight in New York City, and we looked around, and our mild-mannered quarterback, Vince Ferragamo, was going head first like a torpedo into a crowd of human bodies.
I had to
try hit
back up
somebody.
my buddies. They're on my side.
We all looked at amazement and said, "Where did this come from?"
I mean, some things just seem.
Give us
just
the
pop
story,
out.
Vince. Give us the story. Come on.
Oh, well, I just saw Jackie there, and then Mark Gastineau getting a little hustle there, and then all of a sudden Dennis Hara hit him in the back and then knocked him down. He got back up, and then all of a sudden both benches emptied, and I said, well, I can't be left out.
Vince
I got to go in there and do something to help some of my guys.
Hey, listen, when Vince came into the crowd,
love you,
he
Vince.
looked like
I love it.
he looked like a big crumb at a picnic because everybody, all the guys look like ants attacking Vince. Looked like 8 guys beating the crap out of him.
Shoot, I got one guy. That's all I knew.
That's
all I
good,
knew.
Vince.
One-on-one.
So
Vince.
let me ask you a question. Seriously, this game has gotten beyond when you guys play. There's in the sense of salaries, it's crazy. It's played for the love of the game, yes, but if a player's got to demand more money because they think they're the greatest, shouldn't there be another type of a player? They have agents, but should they have managers? I'll give you a couple of examples. In radio, Rush Limbaugh, when he lost Ed McLaughlin as his so-called manager, his buddy in the EIB network, that was Ed McLaughlin that started that. He got into OxyContin and painkillers and all that, and that nearly wiped him out. He had to clean himself out. Howard Stern lost his luster when Mel Karmazin left him running the game. Should we have managers for some of these players that maybe are a little hot under the collar, or young kids that say the wrong thing so that they can be directed somewhat, besides it being Sean McVay, the coach, handling everybody?
Absolutely. And Mike, did you hear what I said just a moment ago?
Absolutely.
The
is what I
National
heard.
Football League agrees 100% with what you just said. They agree with what you just said. And the reason why I know they agree with what you just said is because they made player development, a director of player development, a mandatory hire by every National Football League team. Every National Football League team has a guy who is responsible for player development. Now, what does that entail? That entails talking to guys about what they're doing with their money. That entails talking to guys about how they are in the community. That entails talking with guys about being good teammates. That entails talking to guys about following the team rules, travel rules, how we conduct ourselves at home, curfew, all of these different things. And then if a guy has some problems, some psychological issues, I wish they were around when I was playing, then you have the opportunity to go talk with this guy to get some help, to have some people talk you through these issues. In my opinion, that's one of the most important hires that any National Football League team could have because, like you said, Mike, everybody's not the same. Everybody doesn't come from the same environment. You know, the football environment is something that's we're all familiar with, but we don't know what the home lives were like. We don't know what their friends were like. We don't know who was influencing them as they grew up as young men. And so that director of player development, his responsibility is to cut through the core of some of that stuff and make sure they have a productive young man that's a really good citizen at the same time.
Vince Ferragamo, your thoughts.
Well, education is the key, Mike, and prevention is the best cure. So I think the NFL's goal is to at least, offer suggestions, offer help as a deterrent to train your players, to keep them safe, to keep them healthy. I mean, they also have, health foods that they offer and, ways to stay out of trouble. I mean, this is all just part of the learning experience because after all, Mike, these guys are just right out of college. So they're young men. They're coming in the NFL, and they're put in a different position. All of a sudden, they start making a lot of money. So things change, and you have to be able to focus. You need to be able to put everything in perspective.
All right.
And I think that's what they're teaching.
Now, Vince, now let's look at your position, quarterback.
Yes.
A lot of teams looking for backup quarterbacks. The Rams, looking around. Should they be going after some veteran in the league? Should they be going after some kid that they sign and sort of groom him as a backup quarterback that can take over the job? What are your thoughts?
I don't even want to hear what he says.
It's a big discussion.
I do not want to hear what he says. I do not want to hear what Corey Marino says because these guys, in my opinion, are missing the boat on this quarterback situation.
Start, Jackie.
And he's a prime example that they're missing the boat.
Let's let him start, and then you can join in on point.
Okay, the Rams situation, they're looking for a backup quarterback for Matt Stafford in case something happens to him, during this run. At this stage of the game, for not only the owner, for the Los Angeles Rams faithful, they want to win now. It's a win now atmosphere. So you can't train. You don't have time to develop players 3 or 4 years down the road like they used to do.
Right.
They have to win today. If Matt Stafford goes down, they got to get someone in there. Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? Is it Stetson Bennett, who they try and train? I think he's pretty much ready. Or is it a guy like Kirk Cousins they're going for? So I don't know. They talked about going after Tyler Murray. So,
I am
they want a backup guy, Jackie, and that's the way it is. That's the way Les Snead operates. That's why they went for Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson. They want to win now. They got
At the bottom of the pile is our buddy Jackie Slater, who made the knockdown. Jackie, what are your thoughts here on this?
I am shocked and dismayed that I would hear a teammate of mine for a number of years, and a bright young producer that we have, Corey Marino, agrees with him 100%. I'm not quite willing to give him so much credit for being so bright now after he made these comments. But
he's always right.
But how in the world can you tell me that of all the football being played in the United States of America, that there's only 10 or 12 guys that are capable of leading an NFL franchise that comes into this league
there's always an
on
exception.
an annual basis? And
an
I can't believe you would have a mumbling word to say when you was a 4th-round draft choice who ultimately took the Rams to their first ever Super Bowl.
But I wasn't ready in my first year, Jackie.
You were developing developed, Vince. That's the point that I'm making.
All right.
You were not your first pick in the draft. This guy right here was a 4th-round draft choice. He developed.
How about Tom Brady?
They grew.
6th-round draft pick.
They grew. How about Tom Brady? How about Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy? You have to grow and develop. There are certain characteristics, in my opinion, that the guys who throw the football have that the trained eye can say, hey, that's a guy that can do what we need to do. We just need to teach him this, that, and the other. And so why is it that we can't see that kind of training and development with a bright young Sean McVay calling the plays? You answered that question for me.
You would think so. You would think you would with a guy like that. But he wants to train a guy that is experienced. He wants to get him ready.
This one is going to be on with us here for a little while here. Let me remind you, this show is On Point Live. Check out our website, onpointlive.net. Give us a like on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to On Point Live with Vince and Jackie. Don't forget, email us your thoughts on any of these topics, onpoint@crntalk.com, like Championship Radio Network, onpoint@crntalk.com. And check out our sponsors, great cheeses, harmonycheese.com. Mention CRN when you check out, 10% off your first order, harmonycheese.com. We'll be back with On Point Live. Welcome back to On Point Live. I'm your announcer, Mike Horn. This is one of our better shows. Vince Ferragamo, Jackie Slater, breaking down the NFL the way it should be. We were talking about backing up backup quarterbacks and why they would take a youngster and train them or get somebody that's been around in the league. Vince, you kind of touched on it, but let me address the elephant in the room. Stan Kroenke, 78 years old, spent a lot of money on a stadium, spending a lot of money on players on the team. I think, Jackie Slater, that he might want to win right now, and that's what he's looking for. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, that right there throws the whole argument out of the window about growing and developing one of the most important positions, if not the most important position on any football team. If you feel a certain urgency, if the general manager feels a certain urgency about the ownership wanting to win now at all costs, then you're not going to invest any time in a young quarterback. If that's the point that you were trying to make, Vince.
And I think too, the idea about Kirk Cousins is the notoriety, is the familiarity that you have with that quarterback, and you've seen him developing from Washington.
Yeah, okay.
And so why bring him here? Yes, I think coming to this system, I think we have the guy that's capable of taking over in case something happens. Mm-hmm. But I think you're right. The urgency to win now, Jackie, is the key, especially for the way the Rams are set up.
Okay.
And that's the way they're looking at it.
All right, that's a valid argument. I can agree.
All right,
with
we'll
that.
continue it, I'm sure, for the next few weeks here as we see what happens on what plays out. Let's talk about another big deal. Some of the stinky referees that I've watched in the NFL this year with terrible calls are now wanting to renegotiate their contract, and they're armed about stalled negotiations with the Referees Association. The NFL owners don't know what's going to happen. You guys might be called on to be referees, Vince Ferragamo.
I think we're doing the wrong business, Mike. I think that's something we need to get into because $385,000 a year to work 20 games. That's pretty good money.
Jackie, he's asking
that's
you,
more
are
than
you
we
in or
made
out?
when we played.
That is,
are you in or out, Jackie?
That's a I'm not. Well,
Come on, Jackie, line judge. I can be back judge.
Well, if I just got to stand there and look at 5 offensive linemen, I can tell you who's holding. I can do that part.
There you go.
But I don't know, Vince. This is getting crazy, man. Because you got what we don't want to see happen is what is on the verge of happening. I guess is it May 31st? They're looking at starting the hiring process of bringing in new referees and everything.
May 1st. May 1st, they're looking at the college-level officials being trained.
Yeah, starting to train them and everything. And see, what concerns me is what happened in, was it 2012, when those 3 games were officiated by backup referees, and we had we just had so many. One of the things
missed calls.
One of the things that was happening was they found out, by and large, a percentage of the calls going against visiting teams when they were playing at somewhere else went against them.
Yeah. So the home teams were winning more of the games.
And
they were getting more of the calls.
It was because the referees were intimidated by the hostile home crowd and everything. And so,
well, nothing's changed today, Jack. It's all happening the same thing. I mean, I can't believe these referees, the way they make these calls.
Well,
I think, looking at the replay, what's obvious and clear, should be counteracted with the New York call.
Well, now
they got to come down and make the right call.
If you're talking about that Seattle call, that was not right. I disagree with you at that particular time because it wasn't legislated. It wasn't written into the books that you can have some prominent person call in and disagree with the call on the field and then overturn it. Well, now because of these young officials that they're talking about bringing in, they're going to have that process put in place. So if one of these inexperienced guys makes a call that someone sitting in the booth in New York look at and sees they made a mistake, they can call in now and change that call right away. And I think that's good if you're going to be using these officials. But there's some other issues with the officials that you and I were looking at. They don't like the fact that, in the playoffs that they are giving the older officials the opportunity to go in and officiate the games. They don't want that. They want the officials that have graded out with the highest grades during the regular season, regardless of when they came into the league as officials. If they've graded out and consistently made the right calls, these are the guys who should be awarded the playoff refereeing opportunities, as opposed to just giving it to guys based on seniority. So,
Jackie,
should be by merit.
I usually agree with you, but I disagree here. It's everybody in the broadcast booth can go down on the field and start becoming refs, like we saw last year, where they call up their pals to overdo some things. And let me tell you this: Corey Marino, our producer, came up with this stat. If the NFL hires replacement officials this year, from the 2012 experience when they were used, home teams had a significantly higher win percentage over that 3-week period that the backups were used versus the historic win percentage in this category, meaning they want to hear the cheers when they make a call, and so that affects the way they make a call.
Right, and they don't want to get the ice cubes thrown on them as they leave.
There you go.
Well, a lot of these officials must have glaucoma or something because they can't see right. They can't see the right call. They can't make the right call.
Well, that's the reason why they want
especially the obvious ones. We've seen it over and over again. I'm going back past years. Teams progress through the playoffs because of a call. It's not right.
All right, so let's look at Joe Burrows, who apparently is an expert on NFL season length, and he's got an 18-game regular season proposal. He wants one regular bye week per team, one league-wide bye, and a 13 in Week 13 for the Pro Bowl, and a Pro Bowl 7-on-7 plus the skills comps on there. Gives everybody a bye week going into the last 6 games of the year. Patriots owner Robert Kraft has a lot of pull, told reporters he's in favor of an 18th regular season game. Your thoughts, Vince Ferragamo?
Well, the 18 game, I'm not a big fan of 18 games in the regular season. I think it's just too long of a season. They want to lengthen it to give you an extra bye week. I think they should pay more attention to scheduling of games because some of these teams, for example, the Rams and the 49ers are going to have to play in Australia this year. That's a 1-hour flight. Why don't they play when the Rams have to play the New England Patriots or somebody go there? And then when they come back, they don't get an extended week or a bye the following week. They have to come back and play in a short week. So it's I think more attention should be in the scheduling as opposed to lengthening the season. And the only reason why you want to lengthen the season is to get more revenue from TV. So,
Jackie, your thoughts?
I agree with what you said. That is the main reason why you want to lengthen it. But I'm a little bit surprised that Joe Burrow's 18-game NFL season proposal was so prominent because Joe Burrow said, okay, we'll concede the 18-game regular season. And what that's going to do is remove one extra game from the preseason. Now, I don't know about you as a quarterback, Vince, but I needed the preseason work to be served up a little bit at a time over a period of time so I could get ready for a regular season. Because once the regular season starts, whoever the starters are, they're going to be expected to play all game, every game. So why not gradually introduce them, to the rigors of the sport over a extended preseason period of time? Like in our case, it went from 6 weeks down to 4 weeks. Now here they're talking about doing only having 2 weeks to get ready to play 60 plays against some of the best and biggest athletes in the world. To me, that's not a very reasonable proposal.
Did you find that Sean McVay last year played more of his regulars during the preseason and had a better start? Yes, he did.
I didn't think so.
2 years ago, he didn't play anybody. Then he started to figure out, hey, some of these teams are playing their guys and they're ready to go in week one.
But it was only because of the young, inexperienced offensive lineman that he had, in my opinion. Avila and the left tackle over there.
He was playing more of the regulars.
I thought,
yeah, I think he's
both
finally
of those
coming
guys.
around.
Both of those guys were starters, the starting left guard and the starting left tackle. They did play more, but I thought it was because they were young, inexperienced, and they needed to, get together. Once Alaric Jackson got better,
right.
I thought they wanted to get them, playing together a little bit more. But I don't like the idea of them having 18 regular season amount of games.
Season.
But someone said the moment that they got the 17 regular season games on the schedule,
was the next step.
the next thing to happen was an 18 game.
Yes.
And I don't know.
Ready.
I don't know where this is going and everything. And to me,
international play coming up too, Jackie. International play coming up right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
All right, let's look at the Final Four. You guys did a pretty good job picking teams here.
That was fun.
Yeah, let's start, Jackie Slater, with you. What do you think? We're down to the core here.
Okay, well, listen. I picked Michigan.
Yes,
let me
they're
tell
hot.
you, the people in Indiana, they got to be proud of Braylon Mullins. Braylon Mullins was the Indiana high school basketball player of the year.
He's a freshman.
He's a pure freshman and 6'6". And did you see that shot that he made? He took that shot. He took that shot like it was called for him to take that shot. I mean, up in
Bread
the air
and butter,
he went.
man. It was easy for him.
He had great posture. His forearm flipped. His wrist flipped, and that ball went
But he
directly
distributed
into the back.
ball first, Jackie, to another player. Thought he was going to shoot because he had made the shot before.
Yeah, but
and
then
that guy shot it back to him.
I'm talking about his shot.
I know, but he gave it back to him, and he looked at the clock. He's smart enough to look at the clock as a freshman. Said 3 seconds. I got to let her fly.
I got to let it fly. That was a beautiful shot.
Dan Hurley went nuts.
He went nuts, and probably could have cost him that game. Corey and I were
the
talking about it
referee,
because he went and headbutted the referee.
Well, he didn't headbutt. He just went right up to him.
Yeah, but there was time left on the clock, right, Corey? And,
0.3 seconds.
And then he went up to the referee and he put his head right on the referee's forehead and looked at him in a mean sort of a way. He could have penalized him.
But I
right
have
there.
respect for him, Jackie, because he gave respect to Tom Izzo against the Michigan State when he barely eked that one out, and he's got a lot of respect for other coaches. I think that's where he gets his best production from his players. They believe in him.
But
to see the way Duke disappeared.
So who's going to win it all?
Vince,
So
Duke disappeared.
well,
Vince.
I mean, how can you not go
19-point lead? They blew a
UConn?
19-point lead.
Okay, but then Michigan and Arizona are going to be very tough.
That's going to be a tough one.
And then the girls basketball.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, you've got
Well,
UCLA.
you didn't tell me who you're picking.
Oh, okay. Well, I like UConn.
Uh-huh.
And
then
I think I'm going to take.
don't say Arizona.
Arizona's tough.
I'm
dude.
going with Michigan. I'm riding with Michigan
Tough.
all the
You
way
are?
out.
Okay.
I started with Arizona, but it's going to be tough against Michigan. But I'll stay Arizona just to make it interesting.
I'm going with
I'm
Michigan.
gonna go Arizona too. I'm gonna
What
go
about you,
Arizona
Corey?
against UConn.
I'm going to go with UConn and Michigan.
UConn and Michigan.
Yeah, all right.
That's who I got.
How about the girls now? Here, the Final Four. UConn's going to play Dawn Staley in South Carolina,
UCLA's girls.
and then UCLA is going to
You got to
play
be a homer.
the number one team.
If you don't go with UCLA and they're big.
Do Texas? Texas,
Against-
they're going to play
it doesn't-
Texas.
it
Texas is
doesn't
tough.
matter. It doesn't matter who they play.
I love Lauren Betts.
They got the best. They
I
got the
love
best
Lauren
big.
Betts.
They got the best big man
But how
girl.
about Gino Aurama?
The best big man girl in college basketball.
Yeah, that's it. Lauren Betts, she's good. But
she's a high percentage shooter.
You've
She
seen
gets a-
Texas play, haven't you? They're wiping everybody
I've
out.
seen them play, but
That's
UCLA,
gonna be a good game.
I'm going with UCLA.
And UConn, I think, will beat South Carolina. And I
think
like
UConn
UCLA
will
is going to be a
win.
I like
national
Hazy
women's
Fudd. I like
champion.
Hazy Fudd
I
and
got
Sarah
to go
Strong.
local with UCLA. Corey, your pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go UConn and UCLA.
How
'Cause
about
I
that?
like U's, and that's
Me
kinda
too.
what we got to think about.
Yeah,
Go that
I was
way.
trying to set you guys
I'm
up
going
a little bit.
UCLA all
I like
the way.
UCLA,
All
yeah.
the
all
way.
the way
Always
down
have.
the line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty good. And we'll get into when's the playoff game going to be then? Is it Monday night? Is it
Well,
on-
the girls will be Sunday probably, and the men's will be Monday night. Yeah.
that'll be good stuff.
Hey, you know
right?
what, guys? Before
Yes.
we move on,
If you got a minute to do it, go
okay,
ahead.
we got a minute to do it. But the Pro Football Hall of Fame is honoring 3 assistant coaches.
yeah, oh yeah, please.
Mike Westhoff was a special team coach.
Yes.
Bob McKittrick was an offensive line coach, and Ted Cottrell was a defensive coordinator. Bob McKittrick and Ted Cottrell I competed against. But Bob McKittrick, as the offensive line coach of the San Francisco 49ers, was the most effective, efficient offensive line coach relative to Montana and all that they were doing up there with Jerry Rice. It was the best offensive line
That's
coach.
how important coaching
most
is,
productive
Jackie.
offensive line that I saw.
He took guys not as skilled, but made them better players.
Better players. They knew how to compete,
I think
Vince.
Jackie and
They knew.
Vince liked him. We're going to take a quick break, come back with our final segment here on Point Live. That's our website, onpointlive.net. Don't forget we're a podcast as well. We'll tell you how to get that. And go to harmonycheese.com to get some great cheese for yourself. Mention CRN, 10% off. We're right back with On Point Live. Welcome back to On Point Live. I'm Michael Horn with Vince Ferragamo, Jackie Slater, our producer Corey Marino. I better get this stuff in because this is going to be going crazy. Our sponsor is harmonycheese.com. Please order that cheese up. It's the greatest in the world. Get some great Harmony cheese for your refrigerator. harmonycheese.com. Email us onpoint@crntalk.com. We're on radio stations across the country. And don't forget our podcast. To get our podcast, very simple. Go to any podcast platform and just type in On Point Live. It'll come right up. You can listen to it, or better yet, on your smartphone, type in pound 250 and hit send. When the call is answered, say, find my podcast. They'll say which one. You say On Point Live. All right, MVP player here, LeBron James. I'm kind of a Shaq guy. Jackie, your thoughts here on this?
Well, I mean, what can I say? I mean, we've had a lot of MVP candidates, but for right now, I don't think anybody has changed their team's outcome more than Wembanyama.
Wow.
This guy is
he
unbelievable.
unstoppable?
He's
or what?
unbelievable, man.
He can
I'm telling
do
you.
everything.
And the thing that I think makes him the MVP is that you can't name two guys on the team with him.
And Jackie, he just beat Jim Washington's 1966 record for the quickest guy to go a double-double. He
I
did
know.
it in 8
Unbelievable.
minutes.
The
first 8 minutes of a game. That
eight and a
means
half minutes.
points, rebounds.
The guy that he beat did it in 1966. It's absolutely amazing.
Unbelievable. How about SGA though, too, Jackie?
Yeah, SGA is
I
a
think
candidate.
it should be. I think it should be a co-MVP.
I don't know
because
about that.
It
Never
would be a
had that
disgrace
before.
to have one of those guys not make
It's like
it.
having Bill
No,
Russell
first
and
time
Kareem
ever, I can
Abdul-Jabbar
think.
or Willis Reed at the.
What
You
they
can't do that.
No, these guys are different players, Jackie.
I understand that.
Different
I
type. You
understand,
got a
but
center and
you
you
got
got
to
a
look
point
at
guard.
you got to look at how he impacts his team.
They
how much
both
better?
do.
How much better have they gotten because of that one individual? And I think Wembanyama has set himself apart that way. But one of the guys that I want to talk about, and I know we don't bring a lot of
We
attention
just got
to
a
him.
few minutes, so you better get moving.
yeah.
But right here, in
Those three guys from SC over 300 pounds, 6'9",
I want to talk
6'8",
about those
6'7".
guys,
Okay.
those
All right.
offensive linemen at SC recruiting. I want to talk about LeBron James. I mean, I
30
hope people
seconds.
appreciate this guy. Lakers star has now
HarmonyCheese.com.
played in 1,612 regular
Don't
season
forget
games in his
HarmonyCheese.com.
career, plus 292 playoff games.
Your thoughts
He's
on
first in
point
games
at
played.
CRNtalk.com.
He's first in field goals made. He's first in points. He's first in everything.
second in
He's-
anything?
He's first in
OnPointLive.net
All-Star
is our
selections.
website.
He's first in NBA selections. He's first
that,
team
Corey.
All-NBA.
One thing we should always
He's first
say-
in 30-point games.
One
He's
thing you
first
should
in
always remember.
20-point
One
games.
thing we
He's
always
first
mention
in
on the show.
10-point
What do we
games.
say, guys?
LeBron James
Stay
has
on
first.
point.
He's got more playoff wins than any player in the history